When you became president of Marymount College in 1973, what was the mission of the college?
Well, the mission of the college was essentially the same as it is today, to provide an opportunity for young people who, for whatever combination of reasons, were not ready for a four-year college experience to develop those skills, develop those techniques for a successful transition to a four-year program. That was our mission then, and it remains our mission today.
We asked it the other way. When you became president of Marymount College in 1973, what was your mission?
The college was really in desperate shape financially. There was no development machinery, no fundraising machinery, personnel, and as a consequence, a debt was beyond retirement. And so part of my responsibility was to develop some fiscal stability, but the community itself was in some disarray because of the departure of the four-year element to Loyola, and so I think redeveloping some morale and some sense of community was essentially my personal mission.
Pause for a moment. No, pause tape for a moment. Move the tape is rolling. Let's go do that last question again here. When you became president of Marymount College in 1973, what was your mission?
I think my personal mission when I came to the college was to reestablish a strong sense of community. The departure of the four-year element to Loyola, eventually becoming Loyola Marymount University, the remarkable debt that was a burden to the college, these kinds of things interfered with the development of esprit, the development of a sense of real community, and it was my responsibility to recover that.
How has that mission changed in the 15 years since the school?
I don't think our educational mission has changed at all, and I suspect in a large measure the success that we have enjoyed is due to the fact that we haven't played with our mission. We've stuck to it. It's nice and simple and clean and straightforward, and so I think we've been on target with that. We know what our niche is.
Do you see any changes or clarifications in that direction as the school goes into the future?
Oh, I suspect there are always going to be changes, and clarification, yes. I can't see in the foreseeable future the essence of the mission changing.
What is Marymount College Palos Verdes?
Oh, I think Marymount's people. People, you know, always people, as Whitman said. They're the ones that are responsible for the character, the shape, the essence, the feel of this place, and what they do and what their commitments are spells Marymount.
Let's pause for a moment here, Jake. Okay. What differentiates Marymount from other colleges in Southern California?
I suppose that our devotion to personalized instruction, as much one-to-one, as much small group interaction between students and instructors is the key to our difference. All colleges like to personalize their instruction, but I think we can really do it because of the limitations of our size. And I think additionally our devotion to the student, the underprepared student, the student with some deficits differentiates us. We welcome those kinds of students if they show promise of success at the four-year level.
On a wider scale, I noticed there's a lot of students here from other places in the the country that's not local, just local students other places in the country, as well as international students. What do you feel is the draw for these students, or does it basically fall in the same categories?
I think that the market to which we appeal exists across the country. So if our admissions counselors get out, and they do, to other states, and we want to continue expanding that territory, their message to similar constituents attracts them here. I think it's good to have a rich student body mix, so both domestic students from other states, European, Southeast Asian students help that. And beyond that, there's a matter of economics. A local recession could impact heavily on us and negatively if indeed we drew from that particular area alone. So this gives us a kind of stability, a kind of assurance that we wouldn't otherwise have.
What kind of advantages does the school offer a graduating high school senior, specifically?
Well, we can talk about the personal approach. We can talk about the individualization of instruction, but I suspect more specifically, Marymount accommodates a variety of learning styles, and if it can be accepted, and it should be, it must be, that we all learn differently. Those differences can be categorized, but we have different ways to come to terms with the business of learning. Then I submit that Marymount acknowledges that and meets the challenge of finding out the ways in which these students learn and accommodating those differences.
What is the emphasis here?
I suspect the emphasis is on a family of learners, and we're learning together, both the senior and the junior scholars, and we're learning new ways to do things together. I'm inclined to call it the delivery system. How do we get information to the students? How do we involve the students in their own academic and personal growth? To me, that's an emphasis. It's the way we live together here. But it's been productive for us.
This is a Catholic college. How does that affect, what effect does that have on campus life and the educational orientation?
We are an unusual Catholic college insofar as I suspect the majority of our students, the simple majority, are non-Catholics. We have students representing all the great religions of the world. So our Catholicity is, I like to think, a rather enlightened one, certainly modern and progressive, both educationally and in the spirit of this place. So interfaith, cross-cultural ministry, an ecumenical approach, if you will, I think is the key to the Catholic character of Marymount.
What tells you that you in the facility, let me start. What tells you in the faculty that your efforts are having a desired effect?
Our ability to evaluate is pretty subjective. We've got the limitations of the Privacy Act, which precludes universities, private universities, from sending us data on students by way of follow-up. So we must rely pretty much on a sampling from public colleges and universities, which do give us data, from testimony from former students, and we get it, and we get a great deal of it, from parents, former parents, as well as parents who continue to send members of their family here. And I think we feel rather strongly that we can back up our claims to success with this kind of data, this kind of feedback.
The school is 15 years old, and the facility itself is just past 30. What are the improvements or enhancements and or additions needed to improve and maintain this learning environment into the future?
I think given our commitment, both educationally and as a result of limited space, to maintaining a student body of around 700 to 750. The facilities that we need are rather modest when related to the needs on other campuses in Southern California. We desperately need a library. We have a library, but it needs to be enlarged to encompass all learning services. We need a student services center that would manage or would accommodate student services ranging from health services to the bookstore to faculty offices, which is really a utilities building. And then we need, I think, a student activity center, which could be focused around a gymnasium, but include units for dance, for racquetball, for student activities, for weightlifting, some assembly, theater kinds of things could be conducted in a place like that. Those are probably the primary needs for new construction here.
The library you mentioned is number one on the expansion plans. What kind of enhancements will it feature?
Of course, there'll be the core of it, which is our hardback collection, but that's enriched substantially by a microform of one kind or another, which saves a great deal of space, an extensive periodical collection. We would have a communications television studio in that facility. Our student computer center, the instructional computer center would be housed there. Our learning center would be incorporated, audio-visual of all kinds. Anything which is a learning support system would be housed in the enlarged library.
What kind of plans are featured for the student lounge, snack bar, student services areas?
Those kinds of additions are almost the result of having these new facilities. We would like to move our student lounge and cause it to be adjacent to and a part of the snack bar, which would mean some extension. That room vacated then could become a large lecture room, or it could be cut into smaller classroom units. There was another part to the damn question. What was it?
Just what the enhancements would be in those areas.
Yeah, but the areas, it was student lounge.
Student lounge, snack bar, and student services.
Oh, okay. I think that pretty much covers it.
Okay. Right now, the auditorium is serving as a multi-purpose room. There would be the theater, exercises, all classes, all sorts of things happen there. What is planned for the theater, the amphitheater, and the auditorium changes?
We are involved now in matching a $50,000 grant to improve the existing auditorium, which it desperately needs, and in the doing of that, I think it will become a better multi-purpose facility. But if we could, and we hope to move some of the student services that I mentioned to a special building, then we could, and we'll develop a black box, a small intimate theater, which would relieve the auditorium of that. Given an outdoor amphitheater, some of the larger class meetings, convocations, graduation, it could be held there, could be held on campus, and would really enrich our student services program.
Hold on, we need a camera battery.
Okay. Stand by.
He is rolling.
Okay, just remember to keep slight tilt down. But you can loosen up. No. Okay.
Want a massage?
Why is patronage essential to the future of Marymount?
We're entirely tuition-driven presently, and we're getting away with it. We have, in addition, interest income from endowments, from investments, but given the market these days, that is rather risky. So we need that third component to ensure our financial viability, to ensure our security, and it takes a long time to develop a program of philanthropic giving, to cultivate donors, but we're doing it with a good deal of energy, a good deal of vigor, and I have high hopes that that which we do and the reputation we have for it will eventually pay off in interested people who are willing to contribute to the Institute.
Are you hearing tacking?
I hear, well, I don't have headphones on, but I can hear it.
I can hear it with my ears. I
Yeah.
just want to know whether I can hear it as well.
Knock it off.
If I knock back, would that scare them?
Stop.
Okay.
Why is patronage essential to the future of Marymount?
We're primarily a tuition-driven operation, with the exception of some.
Let's start that again.
Okay.
Okay.
Marymount's entirely tuition-driven, with the exception of some interest income from endowment investments. So it's critical that we have a third leg on the stool, philanthropic giving, and it takes a long time to cultivate and develop a program, and it takes a longer time to cultivate donors who are willing to support, feel strongly about supporting an enterprise like this. However, we have a team of people who are energetically and vigorously and very intelligently, I think, meeting that challenge, and so I count on success in the future.
Okay, this is a toughie. What is the feel, rather than thinking about it, but what is the feel of being part of the Marymount family? Students, faculty, staff.
I think there's a sense of warmth here. I think there's an interrelationship at a very personal level, an affective level, if you will, that causes people to regard this as, if not an optimum, a splendid working environment, a camaraderie, and perhaps most important of all, a good humor about what they're doing. The mission is critically important. The way we address it is sometimes a good subject for humor, I think.
Of all the elements that play into what making that feel, it's probably the people. How does location, the student culture, or the college culture, how does all that come to play in that feel?
I think our physical position is a delightful one. We have an absolutely splendid view of the ocean of Catalina, and our buildings really are not that dramatic, but they appear to be given this setting. I think that contributes to the ambiance of the place. I think that people's concern for one another, their real sensitivity to one another's needs, and their willingness to accommodate their idiosyncrasies, our idiosyncrasies. I think that's part of the key to this feeling good about one another. Did I get at that?
Yeah, it was a heck of better than I got into asking the question. See if I try to ask something from the hip.
We're at 20.
Okay, we need to switch.